Welcome to my January buyer's guide video for Marvel Snap. This monthly series is going to take you through all of the cards that are coming to Marvel Snap here in January, as well as give you early speculation on my part as to where I think they could potentially fit into existing or new decks, and give you my best guess as to how I personally would prioritize which of these cards may or may not be picking up. The second part of this video will be covering existing Series 3, 4, and 5 cards that I feel have gotten better and might be worth considering picking up now, even if they weren't before, based on the context these other new cards are adding to the game. Let's go ahead and dive on in and see what's new for January. Our first new card for January is already released. That is the Season Pass card Zabu, 3 energy, 2 power card with a powerful cost reduction ongoing effect. Your 4 cost cards cost 2 less. Zabu has spawned an entirely new subset of archetypes that explicitly care about playing 4 energy cards. Key cards that really seem to put Zabu into overdrive are things such as Spider-Man and Absorbing Man from Series 3 and 4, as well as existing Series 5 cards such as Darkhawk, Shuri, and Super Skrull. As far as speculation on power level goes, building around Zabu is a lot less straightforward than other payoffs in Marvel Snap like Silver Surfer or Cerebro that just put a mess of stats into play. That being said, cost reduction is an incredibly powerful mechanic, and I would be shocked if, when we're done optimizing Zabu as a community, there wasn't something incredibly competitive to be found. All of that should be wrapped up with the fact, though, that a lot of the best payoffs at 4 energy in Marvel Snap right now are currently brick walled, being inside Series 4 and Series 5. So if you're someone that's newer to the game and doesn't have quite a full collection, you might find it a little bit challenging to brew with Zabu in the short term. The first of our Direct to Series 5 January releases is Sauron. 3 energy, 3 power with the on reveal effect. Remove the abilities of all ongoing cards in your hand and deck. Sauron's deck building restriction is fairly straightforward. This goes into a deck with Zero, who also strips abilities from your cards, along with detrimental ongoing effects such as Mary, Red Skull, and Ebony Maw, to let those cards really be unlocked as incredibly rated stats to energy that they are. There's probably something competitive to do with those, and if you like the idea of building explicitly a Red Skull deck, I think Sauron is a reasonable pickup that I expect to be moderately competitive, but it is worth noting that it's going to go in exactly that shell and likely nothing else. Our next Direct to Series 5 card here is Shauna, the She-Devil, 4 energy, 2 power with the on-reveal effect at a random 1-cost card to each location. 1-cost cards on average have about 2 points of stats, meaning Shauna's probably adding somewhere between 7 and 9 points of stats in total to the board when you play her out. More importantly, though, she's doing that across 4 different bodies, meaning if you're pairing her with things like Khazar or Blue Marvel, like we typically see in low to the ground Swarm decks, she's adding way more stats than that overall. I think Shauna has potential for there to be a Khazar Zabu deck, since her and Khazar both cost 4 resources and are excellent at swarming the board. I think overall the Khazar deck is kind of underplayed at the higher level, since people play it a lot early and then often forget about it. And I think Shauna seems like she'll be an excellent upgrade to that archetype, but is again kind of a narrow pick that likely won't see a ton of play outside of that specific use. Our next Direct to Series 5 card for January is Dazzler. 4 energy, 4 power card. Powerful ongoing effect here. If you have 4 cards at each location plus 6 power, 10 stats for 4 resources is above rate for Marvel Snap, but it's above rate here because that's not an easy task to meet. While decks that are swarming the board can consistently get 12 cards into play, it is worth noting that there's a lot of interaction in Snap. Killmongers, Shang-Chi's, these things can make Dazzler very sad, especially if they're waiting to play them till the final turn. Cards that really work well with Dazzler that have a little bit more priority moving forward are things like Debris, that puts 3 bodies into play, Squirrel Girl, again 3 bodies for 1 card, and I think Series 5 card Thanos particularly likes Dazzlers because his stones often end up filling up the board, making her a very easy 10 power for just 4 resources. Our final Direct to Series 5 card for January is Shadow King. 4 energy, 3 power on reveal. Set all cards here to their original base power. This can undo detrimental effects like Hazmat or Valkyrie. It can also reset things like Sunspot or Collector that have grown over the course of the game. This is definitely more of a tech card similar to Shang-Chi or Enchantress than it is a build-around card like some of these other decks. That being said, I think Shadow King is definitely the most flexible of all of the Series 5 cards releasing this month, and it could easily have a key spot in many decks if the metagame is playing a lot of cards that he runs counter to. For the second half of the buyer's guide, we'll just close out giving a quick rundown of the existing series 3, 4, and 5 cards that are a higher priority to watch out for, thanks to all of the new cards that are being introduced this month, starting with Absorbing Man here, who is key in almost every deck playing Zabu, being able to duplicate Shang-Chi's, Enchantresses, or the next card to watch out for, Spider-Man, is incredibly powerful, and Absorbing Man is an excellent pickup if Zabu is a card you want to be playing. Spider-Man went from an almost zero to an incredible hero with Zabu, especially when paired with Absorbing Man or Moon Girl, being able to Spider-Man not just one but 2 different locations on the 5th turn can often lock your opponent completely out of the game. This is a phenomenal pickup if you are looking to play Zabu in Marvel Snap. Continuing on with 4 cost cards that Zabu makes more powerful, Darkhawk was already one of my highest rated Series 5 cards, and I think Zabu puts it firmly into that #1 spot for the time being. A lot of the 4 cost cards that exist in Marvel Snap struggle to have impressive stat lines, and Darkhawk, when paired with Rockslide, Korg, and Black Widow, does exactly that, frequently being double digits worth of power for just 2 resources when Zabu is involved. Super Skrull is a card that mostly wasn't on my radar at all. Narrow tech card under the right circumstances, but not only is it a 4-cost tech card that you can play alongside with Zabu, this card is excellent into both opposing Zabus and Darkhawks. So if you're looking to have a leg up in the Zabu mirror, Super Skrull is a phenomenal way to get ahead there. Moving along to enablers for other cards that will be releasing in January, Red Skull as well as Typhoid Mary are both excellent cards to keep an eye out for if you want to be leveraging Sauron to its greatest effect. And finally, if you love the idea of dazzling your opponents, you're going to need to fill your board up, and Debris takes care of 3 spaces all on her own, as well as Thanos, who fills our deck and our board with his Power Stone for very low resource amounts that draw you additional cards. If you want to be dazzling, Debris and Thanos should be top priorities to find. This was a new format for one of these videos. Card releases consistently are new, so I'm trying different things. I would absolutely love feedback from those of you that made it here through to the end. Did you like how I gave an overview of the new cards and then gave suggestions of things to work for them? Do you like the idea of some speculative ideas like I presented here before the cards release? Should I revisit these and perhaps rate them in the 2x2 grid system at the end of the month after I've had a chance to play with everything? I would love feedback on that in the comments down below. As always, if you found yourself enjoying the insights that I presented here today, I'd ask you to just tap that like button. It doesn't cost you anything and helps this content reach more people. And if you happen to be new here, you made it all the way through to the end of the video. You probably enjoyed some of what you saw. Consider subscribing to the channel. I make Marvel Snap theory tidbits like this, as well as deck highlights here 7 days a week, and I'd love to see you back again sometime. Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy snapping.